Business and community leaders here on the island are engaged in conversations about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and how that strengthens companies and organizations. I had the opportunity to moderate a conference session on the connection between business and equity objectives.
When you think about diversity and inclusion in context of the communities which we serve, I believe they go hand in hand. You know, one of the things that we talk about at the bank is the power of and it's about driving profits and purpose. The purpose, as you heard from our CEO yesterday, is all about the work that we do to drive responsible growth. That's in a sustainable way. That includes all the work that we do, not only for our employees, but in the community. I will tell you that it is absolutely driven from the top. And so we do think we as a corporation have a role in creating economic opportunity and addressing issues around racial equity in the communities we serve, but also for our own people. And that's a lot of part about my job. When I think specifically about what that means, it means it's embedded in business reviews, meaning diversity, equity, inclusion. It's in talent reviews, it's in performance management, and we hold leaders accountable. Brian's accountable to our board. It also means that we believe in both representation and inclusion, and also the outcomes that we drive in our community. Our organization is 50% women. We are 50% people of color. We look like the world we live in, and we want to look like the world we live in at every level.
Economic opportunity and greater economic equity is, the last bastion of the civil rights movement. I was, raised with that ideal. The company is based on those ideals, and we're really proud of the fact that we provide a lot of, solid middle-class jobs with great benefits and tuition reimbursement and all these other things for our employees. I'm especially proud of the fact, as we talk about, providing equity and pathways up, that more than 40% of my management team is comprised of former hourly team members. And we're completely unionized in our Michigan facilities. And so, these things are possible when you talk about the power of and. You can be union and deliver great results. You can be union and have great labor management relations. You can perform at the highest levels in a very technical space within the industry, even though it hasn't been done in some of these areas where people haven't had access to these jobs before.
I think it's appropriate for me to maybe just call out the Chamber for having me on this panel, this being a gala presentation on Black voices, and in particular Black voices in Detroit. When it comes to voices, mine is not black. I hear one of my kids telling me, "Thank you, Captain Obvious." But I think it's really important, and if there's anything that speaks to the power of and, I believe deeply that people who look like me and have position like me need to not only be part of this conversation, but to be held accountable for the outcomes. And I implore those of you who are not invested in this conversation to become invested in this conversation, because it's not only important for Detroit, it's important for the region, it's important for the country, so we all have a stake. And getting back to the question about how business and this important issue intersects, Kelly is a big company. We have thousands of employees. We operate in almost every state in the country. We work with for-profit companies, not-for-profit companies, governments. We're the largest provider of substitute teachers in the U.S. So we have broad exposure. And I can tell you unequivocally that the best performing companies that we deal with, more than 10,000, are those that have embraced the idea that opening up opportunity for more people is good business.
Watch One Detroit, Thursday at 7:30 p.m.
You can find more at onedetroitpbs.org or subscribe to our social media channels and sign up for our One Detroit newsletter.